shout out to Sean for clarifying that meeting notes. I was a little concerned that we'd already installed those VFDs there. that that was a good clarification. Yeah. So yeah, thanks Bob for a quick little update. Obviously, some of those items really overlap together. We didn't have really any action items on the wastewater valve. I know Bob and I chatted a few times on some discussions and clarifications on that as they're working through quotes, but nothing else on that right now. I connected with Jesse on the backflow prevention, and one thing I think the board, and I apologize, I was out of the office for our last meeting, conveyed is they're looking for a little bit more direction on like the typical procedures or typical standards for the backflow prevention. Is that correct?
Yeah, set of standards for, just kind of giving some direction to the customers who can then obtain, work from a contract.
Yeah, so what I did is I just shared this with Jesse today. What on behalf of the district, I drafted a more or less a draft letter that would go to these individuals for the district's review that basically delineates, hey, Bayview's done kind of a review of their water system, and in the review they've denoted that it does not appear to have a backflow prevention device for your connection. Due to your connection being a marina, it is a hazard and it's required per the ordinance, blah, blah, blah. And here's the requirements associated with that. It's your responsibility to install and maintain. Here is the state code as well as the district's code. And then here is what would be expected to be installed or is approved equal. So I took a first stab at that. I'm not saying it's final by any means, but I'm hoping that's kind of along the lines what the district's looking for. So it's basically combining everything where it references our ordinances, it explains why it's needed, it explains who the responsibility is, and then it denotes what is anticipated or expected to be installed with an approved equal example to the city of Coeur d'Alene's backflow prevention.
And Kyle, just to let you know, Mark, Jesse, Bob Hansen, and I met with IDEQ last week, and we had some very good suggestions about first sending out a survey with very pointed questions to identify risk, and that being our starting point to kind of give people a heads up that, hey, this is coming, we're investigating now. Yeah. And so we're going to start with that. We have not yet drafted the survey, and Bob Hansen is out right now, so I'm sure he'll be back in the loop sooner than he's supposed to be. Yes. And so we're going to start with that, but I'll be interested to see your letter and review that as well. So I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I really like that approach. I think what that does too is I think some of these individuals might really feel defensive at first, but I think to some degree we have to kind of go in this as a fact finding, right? And in that letter, it's kind of, I allude to, we're not aware of a backflow prevention. So, if they have that opportunity to be like, oh, no, it is installed, it's here. Oh, we had no idea. So it kind of hopes to like mitigate that. And I think that, that reach out that you guys are thinking to do first makes a ton of sense. So let me know if there's anything you need help with and any of the questions or poll or anything, and I'm happy to help.
Yeah, and I think what we'll probably do is we have a specified person now at IDEQ who will come up and meet with us. We'll create a meeting specifically for those ratepayers who may be in the situation of being required to have backflow. And so, it brings in the fact that it's the state regulatory agency, not just the Bayview Water and Sewer District, kind of putting the hammer down. So they were very great about saying they would participate with us to help people understand. Our goal is to protect that great water quality Bob just talked about here in Bayview, and all of our community wants that first and foremost. So I think that working in tandem will do well.
Great. No, that sounds good. And then I don't think there's anything else on item C there for the future VFD conversions. I believe Jesse's already provided an update on the letter to La Rive on the final closeout for phase 1. And I just sent this snip to Zach for 2B. I apologize. That looks like it didn't get updated. So I don't know what happened, if it got not saved or whatnot. But I think Bob alluded to, obviously, phase 2, good news. Leaks were resolved, back online, back T-test, all active. To reinforce, the good news is we're not going to be using that amount of water that we just used in September because we're not having to pump to waste. So that's great. That leak on the expansion joint is really minor. It sounds like the contractor is going to come out next week and apply more or less the sealant to help kind of lock that in and hopefully resolve that leak. So I think we're all trending in the up and up, and I think that should be good to go. As Bob indicated, we don't have to take the tank offline to do that little bit of leak sealant. So that is what I know right now.
And the letter that he was referring to is Ben and I worked together and drafted a letter that I sent to La Riviere, basically demanding that they get us our material. And if they don't, then we are going to go with liquidated damages route, which is per contract terms, you are required to give us this information in this time frame. You're not. This is your formal notice. You have until, I want to say it's November, early part of November, that they have not received any response from them yet. I sent it about 2 weeks ago.
Has it been that long?
After that, we will go for liquidated damages if they don't comply. So
They have to know these are requirements that are put up.
Oh, yeah.
they do these day in and day out. Yeah.
Now let me ask this clarification, Kyle, on both phase 1 and phase 2 projects, the warranty does not start until they've completed all of their work, correct?
So typically how the contract's worded is substantial completion is what triggers the warranty period. So whenever substantial is completed, and in their defense, that makes a ton of sense here because it would be extremely unfair if a water system or a sewer system was operating everything that they did, but then it took a year for final completion and they'd been running, everything had been carrying on as normal. So it's per the EJCDC that starts at substantial completion.
Now, how about phase 2? Have they reached substantial completion yet?
It's my understanding that was a partial substantial completion issued because of those leaks, and then that'll be finalized once that's all done.
And then after it's finalized, then the warranty starts?
Yeah.
I'd have to confirm on Zach when that official warranty time starts.
Yeah, I think it's my understanding that we did the substantial completion before they pulled off site the first round. We still need to do
The reason this is critical is if for some reason they need to come back in the spring if the weather gets too cold, we want to make sure it's under warranty.
Sure.
Understood.
Yeah, no, good comment. And I don't think I have anything else on the water projects, and then no other updates on Lake Stone. Everything's still in the developer's court. That's moving quite slow.
Always does.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I can help the board with, or any questions or concerns?
And I don't think there's anything